So a nice easy question to start with. What's your name and what do you study at GCU?
My name's McCabe and I'm a social sciences student.
So what personal qualities do you bring to the role?
Personal qualities, well, personal qualities, I think, I'm quite, a diplomatic person. I'm, quite tenacious, and I'm very, very determined. Like, if there's something that I want or something that I need to see happen, I'll pursue that and I'll make sure it happens. But I'm very fair and I'm a very reasonable person as well, so I think, I've got the right kind of balance there to make sure that I'm a good sabbatical officer.
So why are you running to be a full-time officer?
Well, I've been at Cali for 4 years and I've had a really, really great time, and I've enjoyed being a part of the Student Association and all the opportunities that that's afforded me. But there's a lot of things at the university that I've noticed that I'm not particularly happy with, and I don't think a lot of students are happy with either. So I want to stay on as a sabbatical officer and challenge these issues to try and affect the positive change that will really help our students.
So if you were elected, what would you try and change in the university?
Well, there's a barrel load. They'll all be available on my manifesto and through my websites and stuff that'll be available through the Student Association website. But generally speaking and more broadly, I want to try and make sure the university is sticking to its widening access policies. We're a widening access university. We're supposed to have reasonable entry requirements, reasonable conditional offers, just be an accessible university that is open to direct entrance from colleges and students from disadvantaged backgrounds. And presently, I don't think the university has been really sticking to those kinds of principles, and I think that's something we need to challenge them on. But I also want to make sure that the students doing more to support students in a way that they aren't doing either. I think postgraduate and international students are very vulnerable to being disadvantaged financially, more so than native born or EU students who get a lot more support, be it through student loans or be it through other sources. So I want to put in place an emergency crisis fund for those students, be that part funded by us or be that directly to the university. But I also want to lobby the university to try and mitigate the costs of Cali Court as well, because we should be doing more on our campus to make sure that our students aren't paying through the nose for the rent. And I also want to make sure that students are doing more on committees on every level of the university.
And what would you try and change in the Students' Association?
Well, I think the Student Association has to become more relevant to students. In the Student Association, we spend a lot of time on campaigns, we throw a lot of money at things, but we're never really 100% sure if it's actually what students want to see, because we're not visible enough, we're not active enough, we don't run enough campaigns, and students don't really see us as being, or well, a lot of students at least don't see us as being relevant to their student experience, and I want to change that. A vote for me as president is a vote for an active and visible campaigning student association, which is acting to affect the positive change that students like you want to see.
And what makes you the best candidate for the role?
Well, on top of the fact that I think I've got the right kind of personality for it, and I think my policies are by far the best on offer. I do think that when it comes to my comparison to other candidates, I think that I'm the most suitable for the role because I'm determined. I'm going to make sure that things happen when I say that I want to affect them, and I genuinely think that through working in conjunction with our partners at the Glasgow Student Forum, working hard at the national level and doing everything we can on the ground in the Student Association to affect the kind of change that students want to see, we can be relevant to students and we can make that change.
So tell us one interesting fact about yourself.
God, I wish I was a more interesting person. Well, actually, with a group that I sing with, we actually technically opened the Hydro. Like, we sang in it before Rod Stewart, so that was a thing that happened once. That was pretty cool.
And in one sentence, what is your message to the GCU students?
Okay. Well, if you want a student association which is relevant, which consults with you to see what you need and what you want as a student, and has active and visible campaigns to affect that change, be it on education, be it on widening access, or be it on funding issues, then if you vote in Liam McCabe, #1 for GCU Student Association President, is the best and only way to do that.